Hey guys, Al Getler here. We have an exciting evening planned for you here at the Vent Haven Convention. Actually, I'm not at the Vent Haven Convention. I am here in my home in Vermont, northern Vermont, and it is exciting to have everybody here. Already, we have a bunch of questions from people, so we are in very good shape here. Folks are coming up. Say hi, please. Go ahead in your chat. I got to tell you, this is an exciting event. Let me tell you why. We are broadcasting on a number of vent-related sites today, and that's pretty cool. We are on the Vent Haven Museum, the Vent Haven Convention site. We are on the World Vent site. Thank you very much, Conrad. We are on the Vent Network site. Thank you, Stu Johnson. We are on the Ventriloquist Workshop site. Thank you, Jimmy V. We are on the Edgar Bergen fan page. Thank you, Tyler Ellis. So we have a bunch of pipeline going out here, and the viewership is growing super fast. I want to let you know that with the new streaming outfit I'm using here, I can actually show your comments on screen. So let me show you. Here's Dennis Acosta saying hi. All right. Here is Dwayne Eccles saying hi. Here's Peter Valentin saying hi. Here's Terry Hay saying hi. Someone called Facebook user. All right, there you go, saying hi. Brian Hatter. Hey, Brian, my fellow Vermonter is here. How are you, Brian? Good to see you. Bob Rumba is in the house. That's really great. Here's my biggest fan, Cubby, is joining us. And yes, I have a typo. Thank you, Brian. I hate typos, but there you go. Look at that. Mark Truman. Hey, Getler, your sound man, Truman, is standing by. What a good man he is. Mark, go ahead and put in the comments there. What's going on with the Green Hornet Mobile? Is it up and running? Transmission running good? Tell me. Joe Franklin is here. Hi, Joe. How are you? Good to see you. Chuck Lyons. Hi, Chuck. Good to see you. David is here. David Allen Turner. And Ronia, both of you. I guess you're on one page. That is lovely. Nice to see that. Let me get back up. I think I missed a couple of people up here. I do have a question that I'll put up here when the staff joins me. Whit Smith says hi. That's great. Hi, Whit. Oh, you're quite welcome, Whit, and you can thank the other folks when they get here. They're just the brains. I'm the beauty. So anyway, all right, good deal. And let's see who else just joined. Hey, Mark Kellerstein is here. Hi, Mark. Thanks for joining us. Mark's been doing his own great video. Let's see, somebody here, another one marked as Facebook user, says, hey, sound is great, image is great. I left some questions in World Events. Yes, we got them. That sounds like Conrad, so that's good. Super. Kerry and friends, hi from Ozark, Missouri. Hello, how are you, Kerry? Good to see you. Mark Truman says, all my meets shut down. Haven't started it since, oh, yeah. So you haven't started the car since December 2nd. Got it, good deal. There's a hello, Al. Some of you aren't being identified. I'm not quite sure. Hi, Ron. Ron says, right here with you. Good stuff. Somebody else says, thanks for doing this. My pleasure. But thank the folks who are going to be joining us in a few minutes for doing this. So already we have a really good sized audience, and it's growing. We got a howdy from Oregon. We got another hi right here. So they just keep on coming. And maybe as we go along here a little bit, we'll fine tune some of the comments that are coming in. So I want to just go ahead and switch for a second, folks, to a screen share. And I'm going to bring up a PowerPoint deck. I'm going to introduce the evening to you and tell you more about this. This is the Vent Haven Museum Ask Me Anything evening. Very exciting. The folks who are with you tonight, they know so much about this museum. It's incredible. They're going to answer your questions. Some of you would ask them in advance. We have them on slides. Please don't think that just because questions are on slides, it's too late. You can ask all the questions you want here on social media. It'll pop up on my screen. Joining us is going to be Lisa Sweazy in the WS Burger building. I'm not sure who that man is that's kissing her. I think his name is Cubby, but I'm not positive. By the way, look how beautiful that grass, the flowers, the bushes. That's actually Brian, her husband. Brian and Lisa together make the grounds of Vent Haven so beautiful, and we are so pleased with the way they treat our museum, and that's outstanding. Next, joining Lisa is Annie Roberts. She's going to be in the original Garage building. They are holding Jay Johnson's Tony Award there. I'm pretty sure that was right before they stole it out of his house. Not positive, but a police report has been filed. Next, joining us is going to be the man, the legend, Tom Ladshaw. He is in the Josephine Burger building. Here's a shot at them at where else? A Jeff Dunham show with a Columbus, Ohio cabbage case behind them. I'm such a nerd. But Tom is going to be joining us. So the dynamic trio. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing this deck. I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to introduce you one by one to these fabulous folks, starting with Lisa in building one. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Al. Thanks for
having
me. It's going to be fun. I'm excited. It's great.
I am very excited, Lisa. I'm good. I'm good. You know, it's interesting that we're talking to each other here, and I can almost like Venthaven just has a kind of a sweet, lovely smell that I just enjoy so much. And when you came on screen, I was there for a second, standing right in that spot. So I missed being there. I missed you, Brian, Lisa, Annie, you, Annie, Tom, and and all the guys standing around you. Without any further ado, speaking of Annie, there she is. Hey, Annie.
I am in the original Garage building, and it was awesome to see all of our friends that have logged on already. So welcome. We're glad you're here.
We got a huge crowd. We got a huge crowd.
Yeah. Today would have been the kickoff of our convention, and we would have seen you in person here in the morning at a tour. So we miss you all. Hope you're staying safe, but we're going to try and share some Venthaven with you tonight.
Absolutely. And Annie, you mentioned the Garage. So Lisa wrote a fabulous book. Lisa, you're the author of that one, right? The W.S. Burger book. Yeah. And if any of you have not purchased that book, please purchase it for two reasons. Number one, it's a fabulous book. Number two, it supports the museum. I'll give you a number three. You learn so much about the history. But WS's collection started in a bedroom closet, right, Lisa?
It started in his house for sure, yeah. And it kind of grew there until he had to renovate the garage, but that everybody knows that building at the end of the driveway. Mm-hmm.
Muzz said basically, get out, out. So everything ended up out in the garage like it so often does for we poor men. But anyway, so without any further ado, let me bring aboard our good friend and resident expert on all kinds of stuff. There he is, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tom Ladshaw.
Hi, great to see you all. Thanks so much for everyone signing in. We're excited to do this, and we can't wait to get to the questions.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Let me just go real quickly too. I like saying hi to folks. We got so many people who are being called Facebook user. Sue Johnson. That's the way to do it. If you want to be doubly sure, put your name in there like this, because for some reason Facebook is not grabbing all of your names. Maybe it'll catch up later on. So thank you, Sue Johnson, and thanks for providing us the channel to do this tonight. Mike Palma is here. Is this thing on? Yes, it is, sir. Yes, it is. And Smith is here. Hi, Smith. And yes, I did. Someone said your comments are over the slides. I know that. Good stuff. We have another user here. Jay has never invited me into his horse. Oh, to touch his tongue. I think he meant house. Who said that? That's what I want to know, because it didn't help us with the name. So I don't know.
We weren't invited either. That's the funny part.
Funny as heck. So let me go back and just say hi to a few more people, because this is the fun part. There's Bonnie, who I always love to see at Venthaven. Tom, you got a fan here. Tom, you got a fan. I think Leslie's on tonight.
Great.
Yeah. The lovely and talented Chuck Lyons is here.
Hi, Chuck.
Yep.
Hi, Chuck.
You got a hi, Lisa. Hey, look at that. You got a hi, Lisa from Brian. There you go.
Hi. Brian.
There he is. Brian lives south of me now here in Vermont. We haven't seen each other yet, but there's our buddy Lee.
Hey.
Someone says I smell it too, but they might be in the room with me. I'm not sure what that means. So, all right. Mark Berryman is here. Tom, I love it, man. And finally, are you saying Lisa smells like a museum? So there you go. This is what we got to put up with tonight. Huh? Bunch of comedians. Well, good. So I'm going to go back to the deck, if you guys wouldn't mind. I want to get started answering questions and finding out what people have on their mind. So let's go to the first question. And that question's popping up here right now. And it is from Kay Ann Seaton, who says, If there were
I'm in
one
darkness.
figure you wanted for the museum, what would it be? So, Annie, we'll use your voice first, and then I'll come back to you. I'm going to go and hit the slide and show people your answer. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Here's your answer.
Okay, I would love to see Patata Tita in the museum because she is a gorgeous figure. If you were here in 2011 when we had the Jimmy Nelson special exhibit, you would have seen just how fabulous she is. The pictures do not do any sort of justice. So you can kind of see from this color picture, her colors are just rich and her fur is just luxurious. She's phenomenal. So I would love to see Patata Tita in the museum. Thank you for asking.
Annie, let me come to you on the shot here, and can you tell us a little bit about her construction? Do you guys know any history of when she was constructed, how she was constructed?
Tom?
Yes.
About when Patata Tita was constructed and how? Take it away.
Mid 1950s, Jimmy wanted a character to kind of counter as a counterpart for Farfel, and he had Frank Marshall create a prototype, which he didn't like, and turned into a monkey puppet, which some of you may have seen at the 2011 convention. And then he refined that and made a different one, which became this Patata Tita that we know. And actually, her fur originally was a light brown, kind of a golden color. And it's funny because she's a female cat. She wore opera-length gloves and a little tiara and a necklace, but she had a male voice, and it was Ed Wynn's voice. And she was very, very boisterous like this. And as Jimmy said, she never really caught on, that for some reason people didn't like her. He thought she was perhaps too boisterous. And so she really didn't get used a lot. And I think that's why she's in the condition she's in. She never saw the use really that the other puppets saw.
Do we have what recordings? I'm trying to remember. I know I've seen some, but what recordings are out there, Tom?
She did a commercial. Nestle's Quick put out a fruit drink called Keen.
Right.
And she did a commercial for Keen, and that's as far as I know, that's only a little bit of the film that survives of Patata Tita.
Right. So great question and great answer. Absolutely great answer. Good deal. I'm going to go back to the deck, and I'm going to bring up. I believe we're going to get next is going to be Lisa's answer. So here we go. Lisa, take it away.
Yes. My answer, Tom and I had the exact same idea when we saw this question, is that the right answer is yours. We want this collection to grow and represent everyone in the ventriloquism community. So your dummy's the one that we want. No matter who you are, it belongs here, and hopefully it will end up here. So, in that spirit of Mr. Berger, to include everybody across all time, all years, I hope that whoever you are, if you're a ventriloquist, that your dummy ends up here.
That's great. Absolutely. Yeah. And I do have to apologize, folks. There's a little bit of a lag in some of the signals. Of course, we had perfect last night if you saw our dress rehearsal. And tonight we're having a little bit of a lag. And sometimes that can be as simple as the fact that we are using 4 and 5G signal tonight. We are right next to a highway where Annie and Lisa and Tom are sitting. And so if there's a traffic jam, if there's a use of a cell phone signal, all of a sudden you might see this thing just kind of boom, get right into gear. And so that could be the case. So sorry about that. There's a little lag once in a while. But what do you want for nothing? A rubber biscuit, right? So good. All right. Let's go to the next question. What are the new items that we see that were added that conventioners would have seen this year, coming from the lovely Stacy Michael? Stacy, I love that picture of you. That's fantastic, and we're so glad that you're with us. So, Lisa, are you ready? Should I reveal the list?
I am ready. Well, you can reveal the list.
There we go.
I'm going to go over it. Yeah, Nanny's going to show it. So we've got 27 new puppets, dummies, and toy figures. And we've gotten, the cool set is this set that Damian James donated that he used on Penn and Teller's Fool Us. That's been the tourist favorite. I've got a couple, my favorite of the new class is Dale Brown donated his Bertha the Bag Lady. Love her. But then we also got dummies from made by Finest Robinson, Jack Coates, Pinksy. And then we got a really cool Woody and Benson set from Toy Story 4 that Doodles Bowman donated to us. I think Andy's going to do a shot showing the class of 2020.
All right, I'm going to come back over to you guys. And let's, Andy, I'm going to throw it to you. Ready?
Okay. Yeah, I'm on.
All right, there you go. There it is.
So you can see we've got Penn and Teller here. Super cool. And then let me lower it down. There's Bertha the bag lady. Hold on. Dale's Bertha. And then who else did you say?
Well, I see Max Headroom there. Can you explain that one for 1 second? Because that might be a character some people are not familiar with. Kind of lower your camera and go to your left a little bit with the sunglasses there.
Yeah.
Yep. So that was a toy, Max Headroom. That was, Tom, you remember who made it? Was a Horseman?
I believe it was.
Yeah. And that was kind of a bizarre thing. It was almost like a man in the box. It was a character from a television show. So you got some Jerry's in there, a Bozo on the toy collection that have been added to that. That's pretty awesome. So go ahead, Andy, take it away.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't know. I'm trying to do it backwards, so I apologize if it's kind of crazy. Here is Benson from Toy Story.
Yep.
And this fabulous parrot. Gorgeous. We just have a lot of wonderful figures this year.
Yeah, I would say really, really, what a nice class, and what a great question from Stacy. We did miss that. Good deal. All right, I am going to go back to our screen and do a little screen share here. So let's go. See what our next question is.
Yes.
Okay, our next question comes from David Wilson. Hi, David. I own a copy of a 1920s Max Red Book of Pictures, thanks to Tom Ladshaw. In the front is a picture description of lifelike ventriloquist figure that moves automatically and is operated by an electronic motor. Does Venthaven have one of these motor-driven animated Mac figures? Has anyone seen or know of one of these rare figures existing today? Tom, take it away.
Well, we do not have one of these in the collection. There is a one sheet, a full-size 8.5 by 11 advertising flyer that Mac put out also for this piece. And I think it was probably somebody's idea in the shop. They were mechanical, and they figured, oh, if we put a little cam and motor here, we can sit this thing on a box and make it turn. I've never seen one. If they made more than the one that's in the photo, it went to a business, it maybe got scrapped. And I wouldn't be surprised if the piece that's in the photo sat in the shop for years and didn't sell, and they eventually took it apart and sold just the dummy. So there may not be one in existence at all.
Interesting. And I am seeing a power cord at the bottom of that, Tom.
That's purely speculation on my part. I'm guessing.
Yeah, no, I understand. I understand completely. And do we think that's a power cord coming out the bottom of that?
I'm sure it is.
Yeah. Cool. So, Tom, let me come to you for a second when it comes to a question like that.
Sure.
So there, like you said, there's tinkering going on. What do we know of other figure makers and pieces like that may be out there that maybe we haven't seen in the museum or heard about? Anybody else do something like that?
Sure. Lynn Insel in England made a number of automatons. Not all of them had moving mouths or even moving eyes. Some of them were strictly, display pieces. And of course, most of those tend to stay over in Europe or in Great Britain. We haven't seen too many of those here, although there are a few. Pinksy made a few pieces that were advertising pieces. And Ravello Petey, and that's the correct pronunciation, by the way, according to a relative, Ravello Petey, he was a very clever guy, and he made some automated pieces. He made a crawling baby vent dummy that would crawl across the floor, and it was electrically operated. I'm sorry, not electronic. But I think Marshall made advertising pieces. I think at one time or another, probably they all did. I know Finest Robinson made, I guess we call it a mascot dummies for several different companies. And I think sooner or later, the guys who were figure makers for a long time, sooner or later they get called upon to make a special thing for advertisement. Yeah.
That's really interesting, and that question was super interesting. I'm going to take a moment here, folks. I'm going to go back to the stream that I have for some new comments and just see. Well, that one wasn't what I was expecting, Chuck. But there you go.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, Dale Brown is here. He's back up in the feed. I'm sorry, Dan. Dale. I'm sorry, Dale. They called him Dan. That's great. That's perfect. Let's see. Oh, here's a question. Who's got theirs ready? Their face mask.
Yes, I do have mine.
All right, Lisa's gonna go get it for you, Mark. So as soon as she comes back, I'm gonna give her Lisa.
Yes, I do.
Here we go. You ready? Go ahead, Lisa. It's all you.
Yes. What? Like that. Yay! There you go.
There it is.
Straight off the logo. Yeah, those were actually my husband Brian's idea. He thought he was being funny, and he made like just a couple. Thought he was so funny, and then as soon as I put the picture on Instagram, I started getting all of these requests for sales. So he had to donate a couple dozen because I said, you know, you started this, you got to finish it. So we are sold out of them though right now.
Okay, well will they be available again? Is the big question out there. You know, we'll see.
I don't know. If Brian donates some more, I suppose they could be.
So no pressure on Brian whatsoever.
We do have
I will say I customized my own mask. I took my standard mask and I put on let me see if I can get it here, a Jimmy Nelson original fan club button. I don't know if you can see it in the glare there.
Yep.
There it is. Jimmy and Danny.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
Mallory
All right.
is offering lamb chop man.
Yeah, the Mallory Lewis thing. That was I'd love to give her a shout out for that because I was communicating with her and she's making, of course, lamb chop masks. And until July 31st, Vent Haven is getting a 20% of the sales for those masks. So that's really been very generous of her. Thank you, Mallory. And the link for that is, I know it's on the website right now. And I don't know what it is. I mean, offhand, I don't know what it is, but it's on the website. And I can post it again in World Vents if you're interested in a lamb chop mask.
There you go. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Super.
We are all socially distanced, each of us in our own building.
Maybe.
There's a question here from a guy. I'm not sure who it is. Yeah, I don't know why Facebook is not feeding me your names. Again, we're at the mercy of the interweb here. So, Tom, there's a shout out to you. A lot of Bill Bully books and videos from you. So.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I appreciate your support.
That was sent in by Leslie. So here's a question for you, Tom. Which of your is your favorite of all figures?
Of all the figures in the museum, honestly, I have so many. Of course, everybody loves the McElroy figures. There's several of those I really like. I love the Insel figures. I love the Insel Toby jug. There's an Insel walking figure named Jonathan Jones that has red hair that is simply gorgeous. And then there's a couple of Marshall figures that are beautiful. But I'm all inclusive. I love all Vent figures.
There you go. A man of the hour. This comment I love. Conrad wrote in, carving dummy hands and watching. And I'm not sure how many people
saw. Dummy hands for you, Conrad.
What's that?
This was our Lubbock hands. Lubbock
yeah,
hands
your Lubbock hands.
Marshall hands. Finest hands.
Good deal. Well, it's so fun. Maybe you saw the video going to Conrad's house. You kind of envision some of these figure makers have these warehouse operations, with 20 workers. Conrad literally has a small bench he sits on, pounds them out, sits at the kitchen table, does the hands, does the painting. The guy's absolutely amazing, and it's a true art. So that's really good. Someone asked, are you coming to the convention with Charlie McCarthy in 2021? So there you go.
Okay.
Tom, I've had a couple of questions about Tom's sound. So people are asking if you can be a little louder or something what's going on with your sound. Yeah. Sure. So here's a question, not a statement. I think it's amazing we're all able to do this with today's technology. So grateful we're doing this today, this weekend. Yeah, I'm pretty happy about that we're all be able to do this and we're all able to be together. So I'm going to go through here, just see if there's any more questions. And yeah. So, okay, we got looks like someone started right there with the president of your fan club. I'm not sure who that woman is, but yeah.
Oh, thanks, Leslie.
Nice.
I didn't know there was a fan club. It really makes me happy.
Good job. I'm going to put Smith's comment up there in a second. I do want to say something before I bring this next comment on the screen. we have a gentleman in our community of ventriloquism that worked very, very hard to raise money for Venthaven, knowing that we were not going to be there this summer to be able to support you in person. So I would like to just put this comment up here. Dwayne is updating us. They're up to $51.70 on his donations. And he says, don't stop donating. So that's
everybody, Dwayne, we just love you so much and appreciate you so much. I'm going to miss you not being here this week, but it's been so wonderful watching you promote the museum and thank the people who've donated and keep pressing and sharing it and getting everybody else excited about it. It is a loss for us financially as well as emotionally to not have you guys here. And you've really done a lot to make up for that for us. And I'm just very grateful. I know we all are, but thank you so much from everybody at Venthaven. It's just so thoughtful of you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Dwayne, very special guy. This is some helpful information, folks, come from Smith. Apparently, when you're on social media, you're being asked to give permission to StreamYard on your Facebook account to use your name. So go back and check that out, okay? And please just, take a moment to do that, figure it out. There are a bunch of people here. This is, I am so proud of this. This is from Vinny. I'm the president of our fan club, but wait, there's more. Too bad I'm just the only one in the club. Thank you, Vinny. Always got my back, brother. Always got my back. So, here's some praises for Wayne, which he deserves. That's good stuff. So really, really good stuff.
Yes.
So here's a question. As a Russian history lover, what's the story behind the Gulag figurehead?
Yeah, Annie, you're right there by Ruland.
Yeah, it's in my building.
Go, Annie, go. All yours.
Okay, thanks. So this is in the book, by the way, the W.S. Berger biography, in more extensive detail. But the head was used by Eric Everty, and he was in a Russian prisoner of war camp in World War II. And so he used a crude knife, took a piece of wood, and fashioned a head. And then he took some charcoal and blackened out the eyes. And the story is he got newspaper to kind of be the body, and he would go to the kitchen and entertain the kitchen guards and get extra scraps of food. And so Brian Simon, one of our advisors, did a favorite figure video on Ruland, and he said that he loved that this figure was life-saving, literally, for him. Helped him get through World War II, and now it's here in the original garage building. So come check it out the next time you get this way.
That's fantastic.
Any details?
What's that?
Do they have any details they want to add?
Well, I'll keep an eye out for that, but that's outstanding. But Tom and Lisa, anything you want to add to that story?
No, Annie's right. Was one of the stories that we included in the book. There he is. Yes, look at that. Eric Everty we have some other puppets of his, dummies of his here, and I just think that that's phenomenal because it was basically a piece of discarded wood, and they used it for such great purpose. It's absolutely one of my favorites in the collection too.
Yeah,
I would also mention that it's also an example of the international scope of the collection. That Eric Everty was a German ventriloquist. He wasn't American, and he was a German prisoner of war in a Russian prisoner of war camp in World War II. And yet after the war, he and WS corresponded and became great friends, and some of his figures ended up here.
Yeah, fantastic. Annie, before you go, Annie, before you put that back, I just want to put this question up here.
Yes. Because I'm the best. I'm the bomb. Although I'm not wearing my gloves. So
I know, I saw that, but I wasn't going to say anything. Actually, here's a more important update from Brian. He has 12 masks on the way. They're coming from London to be here in about a week and a half.
Nice.
So, Lisa, Brian, do me a favor. Put one aside for me, and I'll go ahead and pay for it. So.
That'd be great. I will post an announcement when they arrive. Thank you so much, sweetheart.
Like there'll be only 11 available because I just placed my order. So good. Here's a great question from Benny Kirshner. Are there any Garay and Tomeo pieces in the collection?
No.
Lisa?
No, but I will tell you this, that Bob Carl, before he was Carl Garay, he corresponded with Mr. Berger when he was by himself. And then when it was the act was Garay and Tomio, they continued to correspond. What I think is really cool is that the number of Garay and Tomio photos that we have that go all the way back to Bob Carl in black and white, and then all the way forward to that act with the, with the 7-foot puppets and all of that, and just the change over time with that act is really amazing. So
yeah, Carl.
we don't anyway. Maybe someday.
Carl could never take enough pictures, and that was one of the things he lectured on. Right? Promotion, promotion, promotion. He was really, really good. So, someone wants to know: can I purchase a Vent Haven hoodie online this year?
Oh, thanks, Crystal. Yeah, email me and we can work something out. We don't have an online store, anything like that, but people have emailed me before and I work out something. We have limited sizes and that kind of stuff, but so just email me at curator@venthaven.org and I can tell you what we've got in stock and see if we've got something that you'd like. Okay? Good
deal. Here's a question before we go back to the deck, and it's how many 8x10 stills are in the collection? That's a good question.
Are you ready? We don't know yet because we're still scanning them. I can tell you that there are, I think, 8,401 have been scanned.
Wow.
So we're probably around 10,000. I will let you know when we get to the end of the scanning project that we've been working on for 20 years.
I don't know what you got sitting around here on Facebook. Let's get that in there and scan, will you?
Lisa, correct me if I'm wrong, but of those nearly 10,000 photos, we're pretty sure that about 8,000 of them are of Garay and Tomio, right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it is mostly Garay and Tomio.
Tom, you ought to write
everything else.
Tom, you ought to write a joke book. You really should.
I should do that. I'll make a note.
Yeah.
A little shout out to Cubby out there because Brian scanned, was it 2,000?
Nearly 2,000 this year.
Yeah. So Brian Sweezy, our tech guy, did a phenomenal job just bumping up that number of scanned photos. So thanks, Brian.
The guy is an IT stud. He's an IT stud. All right, guys, you ready? I'm going to put this up here, and this is the request. So read it, and then we'll do it. You ready? Everyone smile. I want to take a shot at the podium. You ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Hope you got it. All right, good. There you go. All right. I saw another question here. Then I'll go back to this is a great question. Whoops, that's not the one. Got that one already. It's right above that one. All right, here you go. How many figures can fit in the museum at the current size, and what is the enlargement of the museum really going to yield, I guess, as far as numbers go?
I'll take that one.
I've talked a lot. You take it, yeah.
So we have probably, we're almost to 1,000 figures, and the estimate I would say is that we have close to 700 on display, most of the collection. But one of the things we hope to do in the new building is have more rotating and specific exhibits. So we really want to focus in on some ideas. We'll have some permanent exhibits that you can always see, but then we'll have some things that'll come in and off display, which is more in line with museum policy, and it's better for preservation of the figures. So that's our hope, that it'll make the collection seem more dynamic.
Oh, good deal. All right. All right. I'm going to go back to the deck. And folks, if you asked a question earlier and I didn't get to it, do me a favor. Let us go to the deck for a few minutes. Hold off on your comments and questions. And then when you ask them, they'll end up at the bottom of the, of the feed, and I can get them again. Because going back is just a little cumbersome. So I'm going to go back to the deck right now, and we're going to answer some of the pre-loaded questions. So there's David's, and we're going to go on to the next one. So when will the new museum be built? While it gets built, will Vent Haven be closed and the residences go into storage? Will some part of the museum be open during construction? Will there be a temporary location with museum displays? Thank you for the question, Peter. Annie, take it away.
All right. Hi, Peter. Thanks for the question. So the museum, we are moving forward on our progress. We still have several hoops to jump through, but every day we get a step closer. It looks like, I don't want to give you a definite answer, but we are moving forward with some specific building things. When it gets built, we will not be open because it will be an active construction site. So the Josephine Berger building and the Jimmy Nelson building and even the residence will be used to house the figures during construction. So there will not be any room for display or anything. And right now we don't have any plans for a temporary exhibit somewhere else. It's going to be a crazy time getting that building built, but it's super exciting. And you can see the image of the elevation, what the front of the building is going to look like. So thanks for asking.
Good deal. Yeah, great question. And Peter, I'd love to know who built your Ren and Stimpy puppet. So go ahead and either put that in the comments or go ahead and direct message me on Facebook. I think Mike Palma is going to want to know that answer too. So that's great. All right. Here's a question. I'm new to Vent Haven. So thank you, Jim Fairbanks, for writing. How many figures in the museum from how many different artists? So that's a great question. Tom, pop the answer up here.
Sure.
There you go.
If you want, as of today, and Annie just mentioned, we have nearly 1,000 figures. There are 987 figures in the museum, dummies and puppets, and they are representative of literally several hundred artists from literally all over the world. I believe there are 27 different countries represented, at least. That's the ones we know of.
Right.
But you know, the collection grows every day, and one thing we're trying to do from 20 to 21, we saw earlier the figures that are new for this year. You know, I think it would be very cool. There's a lot of people watching tonight, maybe that have you have a dummy you're not using. You know, it would be cool. We could have our own a dummy donation during the pandemic. Let's call it a pandemic, and maybe we can get over 1,000 just this year. That would be cool if for 2020, that's the year. 2020 during the pandemic is when we reached 1,000 figures in the collection. So if you're watching and you got something you're considering donating, this is the time. Give us a call, contact Lisa, and she'll tell you what's involved.
Fantastic. I wish I had known. I would have had the phone number going across the bottom so people could, operators are standing by right now. Yeah. Hey, Tom, on the 27 countries, so, you know, just to throw some numbers around, after the United States, what do you think the number one country represented is? Would it be Great Britain? Or would it?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. And how about after that?
Germany?
Maybe Germany. Certainly European. We have, I think, only one or two things from Japan, a few things from South America, some Canadian stuff, some beautiful Canadian stuff. But I think, yeah, certainly the U.S. and England lead the pack, no question.
Fantastic. Good. Well, that's great. I appreciate that. I'm going to, and this is fun. You mentioned different countries. Check that out. Watching for the Philippines.
Wow, beautiful.
Yeah. So, in fact, that person from the Philippines, tell us who you are. I have a suspicion I might know who it is, but go ahead and answer it. So Whit Smith has a great question. Are the original buildings going to be destroyed?
Oh, the two of the four are. So the original garage building and then the W.S. Berger building, those will both be taken down. The Josephine Berger Memorial Building and the Jimmy Nelson building will remain. But we're really striving to continue with the kind of the look of how the grounds look right now. So it should almost look like we took the two buildings, the W.S. Berger building and the original garage building, and kind of melded them together. So it should have a very similar feel when you come here, when we're done construction.
Great. What a good update that was. All right. So I have a few more questions. First of all, Peter, thank you for telling us Matty Austin made your puppets. Very cool. So these two questions kind of go together. What's the most unusual country? I don't want to touch that hot potato right there. But that being said, follow up to that is what's the most remote location a figure has come from?
The bottom of the Gulf of Mexico.
Tell that story and tell her name.
We have a set here that was in a shipwreck and was rescued from the Gulf in 1908. So the ventriloquist's name was William Wood, and he was a traveling ventriloquist in that area, in that region, was on ship with his dummies, and a hurricane came up and lightning struck the ship and the ship sank and all of the dummies were lost and come up on shore and were rescued and all of that. So I think they're the only ones that have been in the Gulf itself. So I'm going to go with that as most exotic location.
Well, speaking of exotic locations, I think this is something to really just stop and pause for a second. Yeah, that's very exotic. So again, I'm frustrated that we, folks, if you didn't hear it before, you have to give Facebook permission somehow, some way. And Smith, if you can tell us how to do that in another post, that would be awesome to identify who you are. But someone says, thanks, Tom, for answering the question on how to donate a figure. So that's awesome. Good deal. All right, folks, I'm going to go back. Oh, wait a minute. We got one more question there. How many new dummies do you get into the museum per year? So, Amanda, if you just joined us, the number this year was, tell me again.
27.
27.
27 this year. And that's pretty average. Well, I guess it's a little above average. 20 to 25 is an average here.
Yeah, good deal. Thanks, Amanda. Great question. Stacy, you know what? You're a genius. We should talk about this, folks. Buying bricks from the old building. I know a couple of people that have done that when they've done building projects. It's a fundraiser. It's a good thing. Smart idea. I love it. I love it. All right, we're going to go back to wait a minute. I got one more thing here. I have a beautiful old book of Senior Wences photography. Would you be interested in having it at the museum? It's in Spanish. Yes, the answer is our operators are standing by.
Yes, the library here is very extensive, and Mr. Berger absolutely sought books from any and every language. So we would be delighted to have the book here. So that's something you can, the address of the museum is on our website, or you can always email me at curator@benthaven.org, and I can provide you that address again. But we absolutely would love to have that book for the library here. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's incredible. And as a lot of you probably know, Senior Wences spent part of his year here in the United States, and then he would go to Spain during bullfighting season and spend time there, as well as a lot of time at the Crazy Horse, where, he got to know our good friend Sammy King, and there's all kinds of history there. So one of these days, I probably need to put a better biography together in general of Senior Wences and what he was up to. Mark Hillerstein and I just had a great conversation about that. Let me go back to the deck here. So again, Jim Fairbanks, thank you very much for answering that question and welcome. All right, next question. Is there a goal of how many figures you'd like to see in the museum? Sherry Brown. Yeah, there's one of those faces, right, that I just count on seeing every year at the convention, right?
I know.
Yep.
I love hugging Sherry every time I see her. It says my name on it, but we all kind of are on the same goal that we want. While we're here, we want to see the museum grow and grow and grow and grow, just like Mr. Berger did. So I don't think there's a number to it. We just want every ventriloquist to feel welcome here and to feel that their heritage is here and their legacy is here, and to just to continue to help the museum grow. So I'm going to go with all the dummies. Yeah, every single one in the whole world.
There you go. Good. All right, folks. Smith, you're the best, man. He's cracking the code. So I'm going to put this up here for a second. The link to give permission is in the video description. So if you're watching the video in the little window there on your feed, go ahead and click it, make it a little bit bigger in Facebook, where you get that blackish background. Upper right-hand side there's a description of what we're talking about. You'll see a fine misspelling of Lisa's last name, as I've been spanked by trying to be told. So that being said, there is a permission, probably a dongle up there for you to hit that's going to go green or something like that and make it happen. So there you go. And then, of course, Vinny just continues. Can you donate to have me wear a tie? No, I'm not wearing ties during COVID. All right. This one's for you, Tom. Can you read it?
Okay. All right. How many pneumatic operated figures are in the collection?
Yep.
Oh boy. You know, I don't know because there's a variety of things that can be operated pneumatically. If you're talking about just the mouth, probably a couple of dozen with other features operated pneumatically, a few more. I don't know, Lisa, what would you say? At least 25 to 30 have pneumatic movements, at least?
Oh, wait, for those of you.
I would think so.
For those of us that are educated
Go
in
ahead,
New
Al.
Jersey, what does that mean, pneumatic? Could you tell us?
Oh, sure. I will show you.
Great.
I happen to have a head right here. And you will notice there is a, if I can do this, there is a little air bulb. A lot of the early figures in vaudeville, part of the bit would be the ventriloquist would sit by the dummy and he could operate it remotely. He'd squeeze that air bulb and there was a little bladder in the mouth that would open the mouth. And quite a few of the figures here have those, the earlier figures. Some of them had other features that were also operated by pneumatics, by just air pressure.
Yeah. So Lisa, you have one. Let me make that picture larger.
This is one of Tom's favorites for these lovely controls here. And I featured this dummy before on our Instagram page with a diagram that showed actually how this one was operated. Tom, you know a lot about him because he's your fave, or he's your adopted guy. Will you talk about him?
Sure. This was that small head. It was used by Tom Coram, who was a very famous music hall ventriloquist in Britain, the late 20s and into the early 30s. He was a headliner. He was a big deal. And he used a life-size walking figure named Jerry Fisher. Jerry Fisher was dressed as one of the Queen's guards. And he did this whole thing with a backdrop, and it was very elaborate. Well, at the end of his act, he would do a curtain call. He would come out and do an encore piece. And his encore piece was with this little miniature Jerry Fisher that Lisa was showing you. And that piece is designed to sit in his breast pocket. And he would walk onto stage with the little Jerry in his breast pocket, and he would have a little conversation with it. And if you could see the way Lisa was holding it, he holds a little trumpet. He would put the trumpet up to his mouth, and he would play it, and that would be his encore piece. People didn't realize that figure, using that figure, was a far more elaborate thing than his life-size walking figure, because he had to put on a special coat that concealed all the pneumatic air tubes that operated that thing. The
Wow.
plungers, Lisa, how many does it have? Like 9? It's got like 7 to 9 movements, that tiny little head.
Yeah.
It is small.
Yeah.
The head is not much bigger than your fist.
What were those bladders made out of during the vaudeville days? Were they rubber?
Yes, they were natural gum rubber. And that's why you'll rarely see one that survived, because over time they would just disintegrate and melt.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's funny, Tom Pace was having some fun with my photo yesterday on Facebook. And, but I noticed that Daniel Robinson took a shot from John W. Cooper and put me in that one, which that's actually authentic. I'm not old. Anyway, I'm just wondering, Tom, do you know, did Cooper use pneumatic figures back then as well?
I don't know if he used pneumatic figures, probably, but he certainly had figures that were operated remotely. Mm-hmm. And they could have been operated by strings, like we have the Jules Vernon set here that are operated with foot pedals.
Right.
And I know some of the Cooper figures were operated that way, but it's entirely possible that some were pneumatic also. Yeah,
and I do remember reading about the foot pedals with Cooper as well. Yeah. In fact, one of the bits of history I threw up there yesterday just on John W. Cooper, and I'd forgotten about this. When we had our New York City area little association, we got together pretty regularly, passionately. Bob Ladd was actually the organizer of that with Tom Basso. That was the name we adopted for our group, was the John W. Cooper chapter. So that was kind of pretty cool when I think about it those days. So yeah. So here's this one's going to cover everybody up on the screen, for goodness sake. Juan Lu, I'm a founding member of the International Ventriloquist Society Philippines. I believe the museum has a Filipino vent figure named Kiko, donated by IVS Philippines to Sam Fuentes, who attended the convention last year. Lupendo adopted the key. Yep. So there we go. So Lisa, take it away.
Annie's got it in too. Annie is sitting in new for 2020.
All right.
White shirt.
Okay, here we go. On the move.
She's moving, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know that I hear his name is Kiko though.
Hold on.
You'll see him. Look, touch that.
Hold on.
No, down.
Folks, if you're watching on a large screen, if you haven't gotten seasick yet.
There he is. There he is. You got him. He's on the white shirt. There he is. Hi, Kiko.
There he is. Nice figure, too. Really nice. Got the dwarf body, Tom? Is that what I see? Yes?
That's what it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah. Well done.
He's fixed. He's fixed as sitting. He does, like when you hold him up, his legs don't hang down. He's got a fixed sitting bottom.
Interesting.
He's different in that regard. But yeah, he's really cool looking.
Very, very cool. What's that little Charlie McCarthy-like thing next to him there? Is that a toy or is that a cutout? What is that?
It's a wooden version of the Charlie McCarthy Premium.
Wow.
So it's just a real thin, it's just a real thin wood, and the mouth does work on it. I don't think the eyes do.
Fascinating.
But that came in the winter time.
Nice. I like it.
Mhm.
Good deal. All right. Fantastic. Well, I appreciate that question, Wanlu. That is fantastic. While Annie's making her way back, we're going to go back to the PowerPoint deck here that we have with your questions in it and go on to the next question. And Sherry, thank you for yours. I'm wondering, and this is from the man, the legend, Conrad Hartz. Conrad, who's your date tonight? I'm wondering about the Marshall figure dressed in a wizard suit in the last building on the right in the back. It's a nosy character. His name? Tom?
That is Joey O'Toole. And you got a good eye, Conrad. Of course, we know you have a good eye. That is one of the nicest Marshall nosy figures I've ever seen. And he is a dead ringer for Jerry Mahoney. If you had a carving knife, you could turn him into Jerry in about 30 seconds.
And Conrad does, by the way, Tom.
But let's not do that. Yeah. He
Yeah.
was used by a guy named Joe Dower.
No, we're not doing that.
No, he was used by a ventriloquist and magician named Joe Dower. And you'll notice Joey's dressed in the wizard outfit. He also came in with other outfits, a Santa outfit, different things. And Joe Dower performed magic and ventriloquism with Joey for a number of years. And that, I believe we checked inside the head, that figure was made in 1951.
So, Tom, in
It's a
1951, for folks who are kind of newer and learning the Frank Marshall legacy, where is that in the timeline of Marshall figures?
Well, it's, I guess, about halfway through. He started making figures in the late 20s and made them until the day he died, pretty much, in 1969. So 51 is sort of in the middle there. But it's what I call, to me, that's kind of his golden era of figure making. He had really refined the look that he wanted. It's a lot of the ventriloquists refer to that as the nightclub years. That was the years when he cut the eyes wider so they could be seen from greater angles instead of just straight ahead in the theater, and just made a really cute look. He perfected his paint formula then and his matte finish. And with a lot of people, when they think of a ventriloquist dummy, that's the kind of dummy they picture. That's the like Jimmy Nelson's Danny O'Day, or Winchell's Mahoney. That's the dummy they think of. That's what a ventriloquist dummy looks like.
Yeah, I know. I got to tell you, that black and white shot, I mean, that to me looks like it's in the sunlight. So it's capturing every detail of that face. That's just beautiful. Really, really beautiful. Conrad, great question. And for those of you who didn't realize that I was fooling around about the young lady in the photo there with Conrad, that's Candace Bergen, Edgar Bergen's daughter. So what year was that, do we think? Anybody remember, Tom?
2004.
2004. Okay.
That was
my voice.
Yeah, that was really good, Tom. You're getting better at that voice. I like
it.
All right. Does Vent Haven ever buy dummies? So was this a general question? I don't have anybody to attribute it to, but what's the story, Lisa?
No, never. The coolest thing, or one of the coolest things I think the WS ever did, was work really, really hard so that people would want to be represented here. He did buy and sell and trade dummies while he was collecting, but the way he set up the museum, once it was incorporated, is that nothing would ever be bought or sold again. So we don't buy things. Everything is donated. And I think that's really cool, because then it's the person's decision that they want to be represented here, or they want their relative represented here, that drives them to give Vent Haven that piece. I think it was actually a genius move on W.S. Berger's part to not leave any money or funding for acquisitions.
Yeah, I would agree. Absolutely.
You can get a tax deduction for your donation. We do appraisals on the values of the figures.
Yeah.
And so you can claim that on your taxes.
There you go. And if you didn't do it by midnight tonight, you still have time, okay? Because it's tax filing day today. So operators are standing by. Yeah, we should have really done that. I can add a ticker tape later on. I'll do that. But all right, we have a few comments here. Or here's a great question. So let me put it up there. How many female vent figures are there, or what percentage?
We counted. So Lisa and I did a video, 10 things you don't know about Vent Haven Museum. And at the time, there were 67 female figures out of the 900 or so in the collection. So you math people out there can do that percentage, but only 67. It's not very many.
Yeah.
But even in my building, over on the wall back behind me where you see Rosita is, W.S. Berger gathered all of the photos of the women on that wall. So he made kind of a women in ventriloquism wall there when he was putting pictures up on the wall. So that's cool.
That's really interesting. Absolutely good. All right. So let's see here for a second. I'm going to drop that comment down, and then I'm going to go ahead. And you ready, Tom? Here we go.
Sure.
All right. Oh, did I lose it? Oh, I had it all set to go and I lost it. I was going to put a banner across the bottom, and I'm not fast enough with my fingers. So there you go. I'll come back and do it later. Let's see here. Will the DVD of last year's convention be available? I think that's a question for who?
For Annie.
Annie. Okay. So put it up there, Mark. Thank you for asking.
Yes, is the short answer.
Okay. Thank you. Next question.
Our crystal photographer, who puts the project together. So thank you very much, David Crone. We'll be assembling the highlights DVD of last year. We'll have it as a free download, but if you are like, I've gotten a DVD every year and I want the disc, we will have it where you can purchase it, and he'll get that information out. So just keep your eye out on the convention Facebook page and World Vents. So that'll be coming up soon.
All right, good deal.
And if I may interject here, there will be a 2020 DVD also, but it will be extremely brief.
In fact, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching it right now. Okay, so operators are standing by. And here's just a quick thank you from Conrad. So well done. Thanks, Tom.
Sure.
Also, a thank you from Wan Lu, saying, given the history of the figure here, and thanks for showing him to the world. So our absolute pleasure for doing that. So, all right, we had somebody ask again, how to get permission for your name to show up. Go click on the video in the feed so it shows up wide on your screen. Upper right-hand side, you're going to see the description, and the way to give permission is right up there in that corner. So here's a question. What is the oldest known ventriloquist figure? For example, does ventriloquism go back to ancient Egypt or Greece?
That's
Shall
you,
I
Tommy.
answer that? It does go back that far, but figures were not used and didn't really come into popular use until the late 1700s or really early 1800s. The talking hand was very popular, like Wences popularized in the late 1700s. There really weren't wooden figures or paper mache figures until the early 1800s. That's when they became popular. So, the oldest figure is probably only about maybe 220, 225 years old. We've got some figures in here that are well over 150, 160 years old. But I think that's the answer.
All right, good deal. What are we showing there, Lisa?
James Burns.
Yes.
He didn't use a figure per se, but he is using a little secondary character. Not a figure of any type, but he's an oldie.
Squeaking Tommy.
Good deal. All right. I'm going to drop that comment down.
Hey,
and
Al.
let's see. Yes.
Switch to me for just a minute.
You got it.
Okay. So the oldest figure that we have is Hunter Girl. And this is a converted doll that goes back to the Civil War. So this was used by Henry Hunter, who used it to entertain his buddies in the 1860s. So that's the oldest figure at Vent Haven. Pretty cool.
That is very, very cool.
Thank you.
All right, good. I think I did it, Tom. You ready? Here we go. Did it go? Here we go. Here we go. There you go. Can you see that?
All I see is Annie. No, I didn't see anything.
That's so great. Good job, Al.
Absolutely, yeah. So good deal. Actually, we had a couple of questions
very fun.
about why Vent Haven doesn't have a store, and I'll tell you, folks, it's a lot to do. But if there's somebody out there that is a coder and that can add a commerce portion of the website and wants to donate that service, I have a feeling that that the Venthaven board wouldn't say no. So just keep that in mind. And then as far as fulfillment goes, that's something else. But if you want to challenge us, go ahead and donate the service and we'll take on that challenge. So, hey, Annie, remind me, what do I have left on the slide deck?
I don't know, 4 or 5.
Okay, good. There you go. Operating on the fly, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I'm going to go back to our deck here, share our screen. I'm going to finish up on our deck. We'll go back to your comments, and we'll close out with the comments that we have left. So if you want to add a comment, go right ahead and do that now while we're going back to the deck. Do you accept donations of stuff other than dummies? I've got some old vent books. I think we just answered this one.
We did.
Yeah, we did.
And
Yeah.
I have to say, it's not just books. I mean, absolutely, we want books, but we have everything in the collection. There are old costumes. There are props. There is ephemera. There are posters. There are records. There are audio and video recordings. Anything and everything to do with ventriloquism. And it's all part of the history, and we are interested in it all.
Yeah. And I want to just say that, Mr. Ladshaw changed my life. He's holding it in the book there. I asked him a question one day about what should I have in my library. And Tom, I mean, you did not fail me, man. This book is just incredible. I've been through it, I think, 3 times since you sent it to me. And yeah, it's a great one. Really, really good. And by the way, if you wouldn't mind, the fine is getting up there, Tom. So if you'd pay that, I would appreciate it. Yeah.
The interesting thing about that book is W.S. Berger always said that that was his very favorite book on ventriloquism.
Yeah.
And I agree. It's fantastic. It covers everything.
It really does. It really does. And I think what's interesting, I'll say something. Saturday, we have Liz Von Sagan. And for some of you, you're going to be like, well, Liz is giving a course on basic ventriloquism. I've been a ventriloquist for, 10 years. Hey, let me tell you something. I've been doing this since I'm 8 years old. I'm 38 now. Seriously, I've had the pleasure of seeing the recording before everybody else. Folks, don't miss classes like that. Don't miss books like this. When you think you know it all, that's when you're trouble. Okay. By all means, pick up books like that. Listen to guys like Mr. Ladshaw that will tell you there's tons of material out there. Absolutely. The other area that Tom always focuses me on is good books on comedy and comedy writing. And, there's just a ton of great stuff out there. So don't stop looking for that. All right, let me go back to the deck. I swear we're going to finish this deck out tonight. I mean it. All right, here we go. Can I make arrangements to leave my dummy to Venthaven in my will? Annie?
Yes, absolutely. We have figures that come to our collection through somebody's estate exactly that way. And so that ensures typically that your figure will end up here when you are no longer around. And sometimes family members don't know what to do and they struggle. And so we'll get calls from family members that say, I've got a dummy and I can I give it to you? And it's yes, because we are the keepers of everybody's stories. And for those of you guys out there who are Hamilton fans, if you've all been taking in Hamilton on Disney Plus, Who Lives, Who Dies, Who Tells Your Story, Venthaven does. Venthaven tells the ventriloquist story. We keep figures, we don't ever sell them, and we are the keepers of the provenance. We keep the letters, we keep the records, and when we're given tours and someone says, what's this dummy? Well, then we're going to tell your story. So put it in your will and make sure that your dummy gets to Venthaven so you can be part of Venthaven history. I
just don't remember that part of Hamilton. Now I got to go back and watch it again. Yeah. No, great. Yeah. Well, I think your son is your son, Andy. Someone's son is totally taken with it, and I just saw somebody mentioning that. But yeah.
No, I forced my children, and they did not drink the Kool-Aid. They were just
really?
So.
Yeah, truth be told, we're watching it tomorrow night. We've been so tied up with things. So, all right. Why is Venthaven in Fort Mitchell, Kentucky, of all places? Lisa?
Right, because that's where it was started. One of my favorite things about Vent Haven is that it was a private collection in a guy's dining room, and it grew into this fabulous, one-of-a-kind museum just through his personal diligence and commitment. We are still located here because we want to always remember where we came from. And we came from W.S. Berger's dining room.
And we go back there quite often too, now that you talk about it, right? But yeah.
We do.
Yeah. So here you go. I'm going to steal the shot again. You ready? There is my copy of the book. All right. But I want to tell you folks, this is a rare thing. I have a autographed copy of the book. So I'm not sure you can arrange that, but I arranged it. So woozy woo woo on me, huh? Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Lisa, it's a great book.
I think that was just a stamp on yours, Al. I think I just stamped it.
Let me see. Oh no, you're right. There's red stuff all in the corners. Yeah. Yeah.
Can I just interject here very quickly? I want to brag on Lisa for a little bit. Well, that book in particular, she spent well over a year researching in WS's own files and writing this stuff. And even if you're somebody who knew WS or think you knew WS, you will learn things about him in this book that you did not know.
Oh, absolutely.
Because she unearthed all kinds of amazing things. And he really was a remarkable man. It's a great read. I think we may be out of it at the moment, but we have more copies are already on the way.
Good deal.
Yep.
Good deal. So send a check, get a mask, get a book. What else? I mean, there's all kinds of stuff we can do. So let's not, let's try to finish this deck out. That's my goal tonight, to finish this deck out tonight. So here we go. Next question. Are the convention and the museum run by the same people?
That's a great question, Al.
It is indeed. Annie, would you like to answer it?
Yes. All right. So the convention does exist to support the museum. And while we work together as a team, each has separate leadership. So Mark Wade and his staff manage the convention, manage the activities, set the agenda, do all of the convention business. And then the board of directors and the board of advisors for the museum manages the museum. And so we work together, but it's separate leadership. So that can be confusing. A lot of times people say, does Mark Wade run Vent Haven Museum? No, Mark Wade runs the convention and does a fantastic job. And he is, he's an advisor for the museum, but we have separate leadership.
Yeah. And you know, the kind of the cross-pollination too. I'm an associate director of the convention as well as a board of advisor member, Ken Groves as well. So, you know, I can go on, but you know, there are lots of us that do lots of different things. And we're always looking for help with all types of things and suggestions for the convention and whatnot. So, but in that photo, I just want to call out, not only is there Mark Wade, but then there's Jody, who we all just need to breathe Jody, she just does so much. So thank you, Jody, if you're watching tonight, for all that you do. We really appreciate that. Guess what? We did it. We hit the end of the deck. Yeah, that's fantastic. So now we are back to questions. First one up here. Dwayne, are all figures in operating condition? Great question.
No, they're not. And actually, one of our reasons for storing dummies sometimes is because of the condition they're in. If they came to the museum just in pieces and broken, they've been stored that way oftentimes because we don't have the funding to get them fixed. But in general, most of them work fine, but not every single one. No.
Oh, okay, good question then. Tom, do you know Barbara Louise?
I do not.
Okay, then I'm not going to put this one up here because I'm not sure. It's a funny joke, but I want to I'll tell you later. Okay. All right.
Lisa, can I just add something there real quick? Add on to what Lisa said.
Yeah.
It's interesting. There are some figures that are not on display because of their condition. But Lisa, tell them about some of the other figures that are not on display and why. And I'm talking specifically about some that are perhaps insensitive.
You know what? We're just going to save that for another day. Now, some of the, for real, the categories of why they're stored vary. So there's there are a lot of them are duplicates. For example, we have many Danny O'Days from Juro Novelty, so we don't need to have them all out when we have other unique pieces that we can put out. So that's one. We do have some that could cause a political storm if we put them out, so we don't want to be too controversial. And then, yeah, there are some that really aren't appropriate, I guess, for the family-friendly environment that we're going for. So we'll just leave that at that. And then, yeah, some that are just inoperable or they're so fragile that we are not comfortable at this point displaying them without some kind of support or special way to display them.
Yeah.
Is that what you meant, Tommy?
Yeah, and basically what I was getting at, during World War II in particular, there were a lot of ventriloquists in the military. And of course, the popular thing was to have dummies made of some of the Axis leaders. And, you know, you would give them all kinds of grief. And so we have some of those dummies here. And we talked about maybe when the new building is built, we'll do a special exhibit of World War II, you know, Hitler figures and whatever we have. And I think that'd be a very cool display for those who are interested in World War II history. Yeah,
that's fabulous. And I agree. Done respectfully, done right, with history certainly in mind. I think it's really important. I think it's really important to history, in fact. So this is interesting, and there's two comments. One from Anne about her adopt a dummy. She wants to know, you know, what do I need to renew mine? And then one from Stacy that says, remind everybody about the program. Who'd like to talk about that?
Yeah. So, Kay-Ann, yes, I got your adoptions. Thank you so much for renewing them. And Stacy, thank you for the shout out on it. The Adopt a Dummy program has been so incredibly successful. When we started that in 2017, we didn't really know if it would take off, and it's generated almost $40,000 for the new building fund. So thank you to each and every one of you who has taken the time to adopt a dummy and then keep it. You know, year after year, I write these renewal emails and people sign right back up again. So thank you so much. Many people have adopted more than one, which is just incredibly generous. At this point, I have reached out to everybody who has a current adoption that is coming due August 1st. So if you haven't heard from me, but you know you have an adopted dummy, you're just not due yet. And if you have heard from me, then you can just renew that whenever you're able to do it. We've tried to be crazy sensitive too about this because it's not a good time for a lot of people to renew them during the pandemic. So there will always be dummies to adopt. I hope that you can adopt or re-adopt your dummies, but it's supposed to be fun and it's supposed to be just a way to connect yourself to the museum. So if this isn't your year for that, that's totally okay. There'll be more. There'll always be more here at Vent Haven to adopt.
Absolutely.
Oh, let me just say this. The link to re-adopt is venthaven.org/renew. And that'll walk you through renewing an adoption if you already have one. If you want to adopt one and you don't have one, just email me at curator@venthaven.org and I will walk you through that whole process as well.
Super. Thank you very much. Amanda Stump has a question. I know in one of the photos that I've seen the inside of the museum, I noticed there's a display dedicated to Jeff Dunham. Jeff Dunham. Well, anyway, how many different parts, like old dummies, pictures, are in that display?
Well, here we go. Let's just go over it.
I thought you were like you started trouble, but no, here we go. She's going to show us.
Okay, so we've got in Jeff's exhibit, it is certainly one of the most popular ones. You'll see we've got toys. We've got like the Ahmed toys, and we've got some of the things that you can buy from his website. His Variety magazine covers. We've got one of his very early dummies there, Monty Baloo. We've got a little Jeff, see if I can get it in frame there, little Jeff. We've got a Performance Peanut. We have Jose Jalapeno, which is a prop Jose from the movie Delta Farce. We have a Walter that he used, I believe he said he used it for 8 years. And so it's a pretty significant exhibit of his. And then throughout the museum and other locations, there are other pictures of him at various times in his career. So there's lots here on Jeff.
Yeah, good deal. Thank you for that, Lisa. Excellent. All right.
Jeff was a great friend of Vent Haven. So he donated all those things. He helped us out. So
You met
Thank you,
him?
Jeff. We love Jeff.
I didn't know you were his friend. Now I want to be your friend. Will you introduce me to Jeff Donner? He is one of the nicest guys I've ever met in real life. And I don't think there's a single thing he wouldn't do for Vent Haven. He's repaired dummies for us. He has sat on the porch and signed photographs for people. He's sat behind our dealer's table. He's donated towards merchandise. He's donated all
You're
the dummies.
forgetting the most famous of all pictures, Lisa. The most famous picture.
Jeff?
Yeah. Cutting the lawn.
Which one?
Cutting the lawn.
Oh yeah. I don't have the picture up, but yeah, he's mowed the grass at Vent Haven. I don't know if there is a task here that he would not do. Just a really, really supportive person, and we're very, very grateful for him.
Yeah, good man.
You know him, right, Tom? You know him?
I do. I actually, the one thing he wouldn't do here is clean out the plumbing trap, because I asked him that time. But in his defense, I had just been in the restroom, so.
Oh.
There you go. Well, all right. All right. I'm trying to get through the last few questions here. How is funding for the new building coming, and is there a time frame of starting construction? So we've kind of covered that once, but let's just go over it one more time.
You want to go, Annie?
Sure. So funding is it is moving along, and we are close to reaching our building goal of $900,000. And so we are moving forward with the process of getting all the steps, the pre-steps, the meeting with the Board of Adjustment, and doing all those things, finalizing plans. So I don't know how long those red tape hoops will take, because who knows how fast government will move. But the fundraising that is moving along. So
good deal.
Thank you to everybody who has supported this project. We have had a great outpouring with lots of people doing their part, everybody pitching in and helping in lots of different ways.
Yeah.
And so if you have contributed to the campaign, thank you. We could not have gotten to this level without you at all. So,
and we are still looking for corporate sponsorship. If somebody watching happens to know somebody on a corporate board that's maybe friendly, particularly friendly toward the arts, please contact us. Every little bit helps.
Good deal. And someone says they have a picture of Jeff doing the dishes at Vent Haven, but I don't have an identity, so we'll have to get that person to identify themselves. Dwayne has an update. What's that?
I said I have pictures of Jeff doing dishes here at Vent Haven as well.
There you go.
And look at Dwayne.
Here's a challenge.
195.
Here's a challenge,
That is so
Dwayne.
great. Thank you, Dwayne.
Dwayne's got this going on here, folks. We've got a few more minutes left. We're going to wind things down pretty soon, but can we get him past $5,200? I mean, we're just $5 away. I think it's probably in the screen there, in the feed. Dwayne, go ahead and put it in each of the feeds right now so folks can find it, and go ahead and refresh that. That'd be great. Kenny, we just said this. We agree. Sell bricks with names, build a walkway. Lots of ways to raise. Kenny, you're a man after my own heart. Lots of ways to raise money coming in. So we got a brick with your name on it, buddy. I'm going to, folks, while you're kind of winding things down, I'm going to go ahead back and make sure. Well, here's one. Are there any historic figures ever used in a convention or educational show, or are they essentially in dummy heaven at Vent Haven, never to perform again?
Go ahead, Tom. You answer this one.
Well, a part of WS's deal was when he would take figures in, once he incorporated the museum, it was a collection that was designed to preserve and the history of ventriloquism and the ventriloquists and their dummies. And WS didn't feel like it was right to have another ventriloquist come along and give voice to someone else's character. So we look at it as once the figure comes here, we preserve its history. We don't allow other people to use them. They're not loaned out. They're no longer performed with, because the original ventriloquist is not here. And so it wouldn't be the original voice. So we don't do that. We preserve their history as is.
There you go. Good deal. Kenny, who just commented, I found another one. Does anyone maintain the figures or check them? That's a good one.
That would be my full-time job. Yay! Yes, that is what I do. I clean them each thoroughly twice a year, and I'm in the buildings nearly every single day checking on things. One of our greatest expenses is orchid, and we don't have any pests here. I keep them clean and stiff and show them to the tourists. So yeah, are you gunning for my job? Is that what you're asking here? Because
Sounds like it. I don't know. Yeah, I'm thinking. Hey, we have an update from a guy named Cubby. He says that you can conveniently just copy down this URL right now with your pencil and buy the book online. So there you go. I think if you go to Amazon and search Venthaven Museum, past, present, future, you can find it there. Hey, Sherry asked a question. How do you get on the Venthaven Museum board? I think it's called practice. I don't know.
Well, yeah, the board of directors has been around since Mr. Berger incorporated the museum. He was the first president of it, and there've only been 3 presidents of the board of directors. That would be Mr. Berger, and then his attorney John Brooking, and now Brooke Brooking is the president of the museum. So it's a really slow turnover. So I guess you could. I think there's like a little ticket thing where you can take a number. I don't know. And then the board of advisors, that's a really cool dynamic board where people who want to contribute to the health of the museum and have ideas and ways to contribute can talk to other advisors and see if they're a good fit to help us out.
Outstanding. Good deal. Bob Rumbett, we should say a word. We'll probably talk a bit more on Saturday, but can you say a prayer for the people we've lost this year? We have lost a number of folks in our community. A couple of board of advisor members, most recently, dear friend Kelly Asbury, author of a great event book, Dummy Days. And Kelly will be missed. Alan Seamock, of course, figure maker, board member. Pete Michaels, a guy who would stop in the hallway at every convention and just give anybody as much time as they needed to be tutored right there on the spot. And Stacy, his wife, is with us. And Stacy has been, I think, at every interview event that I've done, and we just love Stacy and the kids. Bob Isaacson, a couple of years, but we miss Bob. So we do say a prayer for all those lost guys. Am I missing anybody?
Jimmy.
Well, we lost Jimmy last year, and that was probably that was the loss for just so many people. I mean, he just what a glorious human being he was. So
just the best.
Like you're saying with Stacy, Betty still wants to be involved, and I think Betty will always be one of our big advocates as well. So it has been a tremendous year of loss for us here, and we've just been it's been just a very hard time because it's just tremendous people that we've lost. So it's been really hard.
Lisa, I kind of threw that out there because of where you're sitting, and for people, again, we can't assume everybody's here who's been to the museum or knows about everything. Kind of tell us about where you're sitting.
Okay, I am sitting in front of the Jimmy Nelson exhibit. So here we go. There at the top is Farfel the dog with Danny O'Day. And then as you come down, you'll see pictures and albums on the left and right. And then you'll see a little toy Farfel sitting next to Danny. And then some of the toys that were produced for Jimmy's during Jimmy's famous times, a Danny O'Day and a Humphrey Higsby and a little Texaco Danny there. That's just a small bit of what we have on Jimmy. Just an extraordinary person. He was on the original board of advisors when it was first formed. And I don't know, I mean, people love Venthaven and that's great, but I don't think there's anybody who would argue that Jimmy was just there from the beginning. He was friends with Mr. Berger, and they wrote letters for decades, and if you knew Jimmy Nelson, you felt like he was your best friend. I just don't know if I've ever met anyone nicer in real life than Jimmy Nelson.
And when the museum first changed over from W.S. Berger's private collection to a working museum, my dad was in charge of running that, and so he wondered if it was gonna, was it gonna be a success? Could we get off the ground? And he said, if it weren't for Jimmy Nelson, I don't know that Venthaven would have survived, because Jimmy was the one who said we should have a convention that's just for the ventriloquists. and has always been an advocate every step of the way. And so the convention came along in 75, 2 years after the museum officially opened. Jimmy was at the official opening, and the convention has been an important part of the museum's history, bringing everybody back here. And so, that's due to Jimmy.
Here we go, and it's again time to talk about Tom and his fabulous efforts. This book, Tom, is this available still to purchase anywhere or not?
Yes, I think we may have some here at the museum. I know I've got some at home, and I know you can also buy it on Amazon.
Yeah, just a fabulous collection of first of all, the written history, pictures, tributes, all kinds of things. And the thing that I love about this book, I kind of keep it in the middle, but Jimmy never let an opportunity go by where he didn't sit and write an extremely personal letter to the people that he just wanted to thank. And I think that the thing I love the most about when I got letters from Jimmy is, he always said a word like, Danny, Humphrey, Farfel, and Fatita Tata, they love you too. He always included them in some way. And once in a while, if you were really lucky and you get a note from Jimmy, I think this one has it. No, I got one more somewhere. I've got Farfel's footprints that are drawn in there as well. So cool stuff. Jimmy was absolutely, the heart and soul of everything that we really do at the convention. Seeing him at the museum is something we're all going to miss. Betty, somebody mentioned Betty. I mean, just an amazing lady. Talked to her recently, and she's fabulous. So good stuff. And I just want to say this on that note too. A little note from Stacy. So Stacy, we're always thinking about you as well. Thank you, Brian, very much. We lost Dale Von Sagan and Dorothy Malora as well.
Right.
Brian, thank you for pointing that out as well. Dale, always very steady opinion and voice on the board of advisors. So
Jerry Lane.
And Jerry Lane. Yeah, I mean, goodness. I mean, we keep anyway, let's kind of bring the mood up a little bit. It's time finally for us to hear from Dale Brown. So here we go. No, Dale, but in case you didn't notice, I'm wearing my pink shirt just for you. So yeah, I've got a whole closet full of them back there. Good stuff. All right, guys, why don't you start summing up your part? Here's a question about climate control. The new building, Tom, is what's going to give us the exquisite climate control that we need. So, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, we have sought advice from a number of other museums and researched that. And the best advice that we get for these objects, which are painted wood, essentially, is to keep them cool and try to keep everything as even as we can. So we try to control for humidity and light and that type of thing. But in general, the buildings are air conditioned, and in the winter, it's cool out here, so that's good. But yeah, hopefully in the new building, the standard of care can go up even higher with a more efficient system than what we're able to have right now. Great,
very good. Someone wrote here, if memory serves, I saw Jeff perform with Jocko at the convention years ago, but he, meaning Jocko, came from the McElroys and not a vent. So it seems like a question or a statement. So Tom, you want to take that one?
Well, I think he's probably referring to the fact that we don't allow the figures to be performed with. And technically, I guess that was a performance, but I think we considered it more of a demonstration.
Yeah.
We do demonstrate a couple of the figures to show how they operate, but we wouldn't take them out and do shows with them as far as giving them a different personality or character. So I think that's maybe what they were referring to.
I would say so. Right. I think Annie.
That was a figure maker's lecture that we had. And Jeff, we had a figure maker's lecture. We brought over a sample of each of these prominent figure makers' work. And then because Jeff owns and is very, very familiar with McElroy work, we knew that he could be counted upon to correctly demonstrate Jocko. And so, yeah, he did. Yeah, he showed what he could do. And we've used him in, other little demonstrations, but not a performance, not a show.
No, and someone mentioned in the comments too, Cecil Wigglenose, Lisa, Annie. I have worked with him, Jim Barber. Tom, I think you've demonstrated Cecil as well. So, and that's always a huge honor. But again, it's a demonstration. We're not doing a show we're not taking them on the road. So yeah. All right.
About Jocko.
What's that?
So, a great story about Jocko and W.S. Berger. So Jocko was a custom figure that W.S. Berger had made by the McElroys. And W.S. Berger was so kind and generous that his wife was concerned if someone came along and said, "Hey, W.S., can I borrow Jocko?" He'd be like, "Yeah, sure." And then Jocko would, go away and never be here again. So his wife, Josephine, whose nickname was Muzz, she made W.S. sell Jocko to her for $1. She paid $1. And so then Jocko belonged to her, because if anybody said, "Hey, can I borrow Jocko?" she would be like, "No." So, thank you to W.S. Berger's wife for protecting Jocko for us all those years ago.
Yeah.
And by the way,
great.
that story is in the book.
That's great. That's great. So we have a question, and this goes out on a couple of general pages. So I want to answer this question, Jonathan Harry. How do I keep my lips from moving while performing ventriloquism? Jonathan, yeah, that's one feature right there, John. Look at Tom. He's showing you how to do that. And that cartoon's been floating around quite a bit too. But Jonathan, it's interesting you asked that question. First of all, join us on Saturday, because Liz Von Sagan is going to give a great instructional session on how to do ventriloquism without moving your lips. And then the other thing too, we've talked about, a few of us some point later in the summer doing another one of these live casts about the techniques that different people use. My interview with Terry Fader, we got to talking about the tongue in the back of the teeth and all that. So I think it's a great question, Jonathan. Thank you very, very much for asking it, and join us on Saturday. So with that, I'm going to just go one by one, kind of doing a sign off. There's a lot of other comments, but we gotta move along. We're coming on 8:30 Eastern Daylight Savings Time. So Lisa, let's start with you. How would you like to kind of sum things up?
Well, I guess what I'd like to say is that thank you, Al, for doing this with us and helping with all the technical elements of it. We wouldn't be here without you. And thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight, who watched and who had comments, except for Dale Brown. And let's see, I miss you all so much. It is nothing like it is at convention time. So fingers crossed that 2021 is going to be even better than 2020 could have been. So always email me, always call me, let me know what you're doing. Like us on Facebook, and we'll be here. I can't wait to see you guys next year. Good stuff.
Good stuff. Tom, let me turn it over to you.
Sure. I just want to say thanks for doing this for us, Al. We really appreciate it. We appreciate all you do for the museum. And I want to reiterate again that we are always trying to grow the collection, not just dummies, but anything you may wish to turn over to us. And it's all good for a tax deduction. You'll get tax deduction papers, and we are a 501c3 charitable organization. And as I said, 2020, to me, that's the year of the pandemic. So let's go over 1,000 this year, and let's have you send in the dummy. And thanks so much for joining us, and we hope to see you again soon.
Never gets old, Tom. It never gets old. Annie, take it away. Wait, sorry, Tom. Wait, I'll give you one more shot. Go ahead.
No, it's quite all right. It's
that is not a Vent Haven dummy. Would you clarify that? That is Tom's personal property.
Yeah, maybe someone can put his glasses on before we sign off too. So go ahead, Annie.
Thank you guys for watching. And just so you know, even though you're not here this week, and we miss you so much, I miss the hugs and the laughter and the seeing everybody again. The museum is open. We are open for tours. So if you are anywhere close by and you need to go get away from your family, take a drive to Fort Mitchell, make a tour, make an appointment to come see Lisa. She's doing small tours. And you don't have to come during the convention. We'll be open for the next couple of months, and we are pandemic friendly. Small group, and you can get a personalized tour that you don't necessarily get.
No, Tom, go back to that. Tom, go back to that. Tom, yeah. I think the best part about the donations are, Annie, that the board of directors of the museum, that with the donations, we've been able to get a vision plan for the board members. So I'm really glad that we've invested in that. And Oh, when does the silly stop ever? We didn't get a vision plan before that rumor starts, okay? I saw a comment here. I'm going to make it the closing comment on screen. Joseph Franklin, you get to close this out. This is a great, great thing Joseph said here. Thanks to everyone. The only thing that could have made it better was Skyline Chili. So I think we all agree with that. We all agree. With that, folks, thank you all very, very much for being with us tonight. It was really a blast. I hope you enjoyed it. Saturday, the fun begins. Actually, I'm going to give Conrad a little plug here. Great idea of his. The fun begins Saturday morning Eastern time, where Conrad is opening up world events for a collect them and trade them, and I think he's even calling begging. You can even beg for a figure, but it's kind of like a swap shop for world events. So go to the world events page on Saturday morning Eastern time, and you'll see that. But then at 3 p.m. Eastern time, figure out your own time zone all the way around the world. We will begin our live stream from the convention. We have a great afternoon planned for you with instructions and messages, and then we're going to cap that off with an interview with Willie Tyler. I bet you Lester's going to stop by with Darcy Lynn Farmer and with the incomparable Jeff Dunham closing us out. So we will see you all on Saturday. Thank you all very much. Panelists, stick around, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.
Everybody, thanks.
Bye. Thank you.